Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. Today, we've got a really special video lined up for you. We've got some huge news that is breaking within the Cardano ecosystem. And actually, this is good news I like to hear because this very much ties in with my vision for Cardano. And there's a huge advancement towards that. I think the future for Cardano is largely built of layer 2s and sidechains. And ultimately, this is how it could win as a cryptocurrency. If the layer 1 Cardano becomes the kind of securing chain that all these weird and wonderful things are built on top of, then I think it's going to do very well. We're still very early days for Cardano. I've followed the Ethereum journey really from the start. And ultimately, it wasn't still sort of 5 years down the line where Ethereum had its DeFi summer. Cardano is still, it's only really been around or on the markets for 5 years since 2017. It still has a long way to go, but it's a road that there's been achievements constantly made on, and what Milk Meter and DC Spark are doing is absolutely huge. I do honestly believe that there's going to be more traffic and things happening on these layer 2s and side chains than there are the actual underlying layer 1. And people get upset with this, they get upset with me for saying this, but actually it's a good thing. People think it sort of takes away from Cardano as a layer 1 to have all this traffic on the layer 2s, but actually it adds to it because the layer 1 is imperative to the whole process, and that process is going to be multiplied for many different use cases. We know that we're one step closer to Hydra, which deals with scalability. We all know that you can potentially get up to 1,000 transactions per second from Hydra, which would make Cardano one of the fastest blockchains. But there's a variety of other things you can do with it. And actually what DC Spark and Milkamida and Sebastian are doing is very exciting. And that's what we're going to be diving into in this video. So just to summarize the video, guys, we will be diving into the news, what this means for Cardano. CoinDesk were covering it earlier. What some of the effects of this are. And then I actually just want to go and talk a little bit about Milkamida, which essentially are doing something absolutely huge. Milkamida are doing something that's crucial. These are what Milkamida are doing, and DC Spark and Sebastian is actually some of the best innovation that we see within the Cardano space. They're building the groundwork potentially for when we get a Cardano summer or a Cardano DeFi summer or a kind of DeFi period when things really take off. And it's extremely exciting what's taking place here. So I want to cover what Milkamida are doing. It's been a while since we've looked at them. And then we'll round things up with a little bit of price analysis. You guys know that we've been buying crypto since the start of the year. They've done very well off of it and are looking to take this market to the upside even further. So let's get into it, guys. What am I talking about? What am I rambling on about? Well, Cardano will be the top EVM chain next month. This is from Milkamida. Cardano's EVM layer is launching a feature allowing every Cardano user to use EVM contracts directly from any Cardano wallet, all in pure ADA. This will instantly make Cardano one of the largest chains by user count. So, first of all, what is EVM? EVM is the language that Ethereum uses. It's the kind of environment that builders on Ethereum use. We have Plutus on Cardano. And essentially, why everyone wants to be an EVM chain is because it has the largest pool of developers. So there's an option through Milkamida for those developers to actually build on Milkamida's layer 2, which is ran or is only possible and connected to Cardano's layer 1. So this essentially means that you'll be able to have EVM applications that run off Cardano basically through Milkamida. They also have an Algorand version. I think they call it C1 for Cardano and A1 for Algorand. Essentially, this can also bridge, and we've done a video on this previously, Cardano and Algorand potentially through this kind of Milkamida EVM link. So this is what I mean by not only is our layer 2s and sidechains the answer for interoperability through things like this, or maybe World Mobile's SDK, Cosmos chain, that will be a side chain of Cardano. Maybe there's an IBC link in there, or we can get on Polkadot and have that XCM link. So not only is it the answer for interoperability, it's the answer for scalability, and is actually the answer for buildability almost, because every single EVM trained developer will now be able to build on top of Cardano and actually harness the underlying Cardano blockchain. Remember, I've done many diagrams of this. This essentially, and I'll use the Cardano chart, is how I see Cardano evolving. You know, people think that the adoption has to take place on the layer 1, and that is partially right. But if this is the Cardano blockchain, what you're going to have and what the future very much looks like is you're going to have all these side chains that are ran off. And maybe this one has a link to the Algorand ecosystem or the Algorand layer 1. And there'll be, you know, different kind of scaling solutions on these different kind of use cases for these layers. For example, World Mobile have their own use case. Milkamida have their EVM use case. You know, you may have Hydra, which will have its own use case, which is to process transactions. But all of these side chains that can be infinitely, and these layer 2s that can be infinitely essentially built up upon, will all have one thing in common, and that's that they all use Cardano's main chain. And basically, this becomes almost like the relay chain for Polkadot, or the security chain, talking about Cardano's main chain. This is the future and the way that I see Cardano going. And what these guys are doing is a big part of that, certainly with EVM, which will allow developers to kind of interact with Cardano, and hopefully will allow Cardano to interact with Algorand eventually. So I will spend a little bit of time talking about the Cardano EVM sidechain from Milkamida because it's extremely interesting and a big part of things. But this is absolutely great news, guys. Deep in a bear market where most projects have lost hope, Cardano's EVM announcement easily beats one of the top ZK EVM announcements. It's crazy how big and engaged the Cardano community is. And you can see, of course, this is Polygon. This is Cardano. Cardano has the user base. If I'm being honest, the Cardano DeFi space, and I will do an entire video giving my honest opinion on Cardano's DeFi space, it's very lackluster and not there. You know, it's I don't want to use it. It is disappointing. But I think, and maybe I've been guilty of this as a channel, you know, I've been very hyped for Cardano's DeFi space, and today it's underperformed what my expectations were. However, over time, not only with these applications built on the layer 1s, with the applications that are built on the layer 2s and sidechains that can all interact, you're going to end up with this monster of a DeFi space that is going to be able to compete with the best of them, because Cardano's DeFi space, with what the likes of DC, Spark, and Milkamida are doing, is going to have reasons for you to use it. Why Cardano's DeFi space is lacking so much right now is because the reasons aren't really there to use it, right? Certainly from a yield point of view, you can just stake and get similar yields to what a lot of these are offering. For example, JED, the Shen incentives, I don't really think are there. But the incentives are coming. Part of that's to do with the market conditions. Part of that's to do with, what's the word? Sort of reasons to innovation with the Cardano DeFi space, but it's still being built. Again, what these are doing cannot be understated. Cardano gets on-chain gaming boost as Pyama layer 2 goes live. So let's just quickly talk about this. This, of course, is off of Milkamida's sidechain, which we'll talk about in a second, or layer 2. Cardano won't just be a top EVM chain, it will also be a top gaming chain. Pyama is a layer 2 for on-chain games with any Web 2 language using any game engine. Now live for Cardano, for every Cardano user, for any wallet, all in pure ADA, making Cardano a top gaming chain by user count. So this is crazy what's going on. It really is big news, guys. And this is all possible because of layer 2s. The main chain, theoretically, you know, you probably wouldn't want all that traffic on the main chain or the traffic that you're going to end up with. It's why Hydra's a layer 2, because you don't want, if you're sacrificing a lot to get a chain in terms of security, to get a chain that can do 1 million transactions per second. Whereas what Cardano, and this is why I've always been such a fan of Cardano, what they've done is they've gone, well, we'll take that traffic somewhere else, but we'll utilize the underlying security of the layer 1. So the layer 1 isn't affected by it, but the layer 2 uses the layer 1 to essentially secure it. So it's really interesting what's going on. This is something I could explore in more detail. This was from Pete over at Learn Cardano podcast. Great guy to follow, by the way, if you're interested in the Cardano ecosystem. Any native Cardano wallet will be able to interact with Milkamida EVM sidechain without using MetaMask, interact with any DEX, cross-chain protocol, or GameFi directly. Wrap smart contracts, here we come. Huge news, guys. If we go on and read a little bit of Sebastian's tweet before we then get into what this C1 Milk and Media EVM sidechain actually is, because it's important, and then we'll wrap things up with a little bit of price analysis. So not only this, but it will be the largest EVM chain with staking rewards fully operational. So this is where Cardano shines, and it needs to be used more and more. We've already seen use cases for it in DeFi, is its staking mechanism, right? It's superior. I've used pretty much every chain there is. Staking is a pain in the backside for most of them, okay? Whereas Cardano staking is just simply genius. It's such a great idea, and the fact that it plays such a key role in Cardano in regards to securing it, and the stake pool consensus is brilliant. You know, it is just absolutely fantastic. So Milk and Media is soon enabling staking rewards for all EVM users, including smart contract developers. Build in Cardano's EVM layer and get paid automatically every 5 days. Pretty impressive, guys. Want to be the first to build a top dApp? You can start now. And of course, I'll leave a link to Sebastian's Twitter and also Milk and Media. Cardano is poised to be a powerhouse in on-chain gaming as well through Pyma plus Milk and Media. Pyma not only uses Cardano's ecosystem, but you can even use it from Polkadot wallets, bringing all Polkadot users to the Cardano ecosystem. You see how interoperability gets solved with these sidechains. It's amazing what's going on. This news actually can't be understated. Not only am I excited because it ties with my kind of vision for Cardano, it simply is big news. And of course, this is Milk and Media. I'll leave a link to these guys in the description. How it works, we'll just read through this very quickly, and then we'll finish on a little bit of price analysis. The Milk and Media C1 Cardano EVM sidechain. After weighing out many of the positives and negatives of various approaches, we settled on the ideal solution that will maximize both attracting new developers and improving the value proposition of the layer 1 blockchain overall. We will be deploying the first Cardano sidechain named C1, which will be an EVM-based sidechain that uses Milk ADA. Wrapped ADA, which is transferred from the Cardano mainnet to the sidechain as its base asset for fees and gas. This provides both developer and user simplification on onboarding experiencing, while improving the value of ADA as it becomes a coordinated based asset of multi-chains. So what's said here is key to the thesis that we've got for Cardano. The underlying asset, Cardano, secures not just its own chain, but a variety of other chains. And actually, one thing that Cardano's got going for it that other chains don't is just how secure and the throughput that it's got and the uptime. It is simply a very good design for a blockchain. Yes, things are taking a while to build out, but Rome was not built in a day. So furthermore, thanks to Cardano being proof of stake, when users transfer ADA to the sidechain, it can be auto-delegated to stake pools, which passively earns returns, unlike using a new token as a base asset. This allows the sidechain to work synergetically with the Cardano mainnet in a manner where they build off each other, and the benefit of both bleed over to all users. Additionally, the relationship is strengthened by the fact that all user fees will be charged when integrating the Milk and Media protocol, no matter on which chain, which will be in ADA. So they're basically saying they really further the actual, they don't take away from Cardano, because it's Cardano that's making all this possible. But actually, this is one hidden talent that Cardano has that these other chains don't, is you inherently, when you come over to these chains, you're still earning staking rewards, which is great in itself. This is what I mean. One of Cardano's secret weapons is Ouroboros. It's a beautiful design, and there's many benefits to it. By building this solid foundation between mainnet and the sidechain, we also provide users a seriously improved UX, wherein by submitting a single transaction, everything is dealt with automatically behind the scenes. For example, this translates into a smooth experience where users send their tokens to sidechain bridge on Cardano mainnet, and the inner bridge mechanically takes care of the series of subsequent transactions with no further user input. After a short period of time, the tokens simply arrive on the sidechain in the user's wallet from their perspective. Not only does this synergy provide a great experience for moving between mainnet and the sidechain, it also unlocks an opportunity that was never considered before. Absolutely. So it's still a bit cumbersome. This process, when this really takes off and becomes big, and I hope you guys are following me on this, sidechains, is when people don't know that they're using the sidechains. So the groundwork's there, right? When you drive your car, no, maybe myself because I'm, a bloke and have an interest in cars. But when you drive a car, you don't really think about mechanically what's going on. You just put your foot on the clutch, put it into gear, and off you go, right? You don't think mechanically about what's taking place. Or when you use the internet, you're not thinking necessarily about the PC and what it's doing when you're clicking a button, for example. This is where Cardano and crypto generally needs to get for mass adoption. Okay? So where are we? Thanks to our new innovation called Wrapped Smart Contracts, it will be possible for users on the Cardano mainnet to call and use contracts on the sidechain without having to leave mainnet at all. This is huge, guys. Users will submit a single Cardano transaction with the data and assets required to interact with the sidechain app, DApp, and the sidechain bridge layer takes care of the rest. So the asset data are transferred over to the sidechain. The request action is executed on the target DApp, and the results are deposited back to the user wallet in the end. So again, if you're an EVM developer, we've now just gained access to the largest development pool in crypto, which is EVM. And actually through gaming, you can use any Web 2 language as a result of this. This is huge. And is a key part to Cardano's infrastructure. This is the kind of power that is possible by removing all excess features tokens that get in the way of interoperability between mainnet and sidechains. The C1 sidechain was officially launched on April 2022, and it became the first sidechain to launch on Cardano powered by Milk and Meter sidechain protocol. Multiple improvements have been made since, and the C1 sidechain is now premier EVM-based sidechain in the Cardano ecosystem. Huge news. Lots more is going to come out of this. Remember, guys, and this is the exciting thing for me, this is one sidechain of probably, I dare say, hundreds in the future that could come. And the Cardano use case is this. It's going to secure everything. It's the reason you can build on top of it. And your couple of $1 billion sidechain is secured by the main chain, which has multiple of those $1 billion sidechains on top of it, not to mention dApps that are built on the layer 1 or on the layer 2s that also have to utilize that. Everything, it's kind of like a stream, right? It all filters. You've got these many different, streams that are going on, but it all filters back to the main chain, if that makes sense. So a little bit of price analysis, guys, just to finish things off. Hopefully you can see why this is such significant news now. You guys know the journey that we think Cardano is now on. It's been absolutely brutal since really the end of the Alonso hard fork. We bought Cardano for the first time on January the 1st. If you guys want to find out what I'm buying and where I'm buying, please do feel free to join the Patreon. But ultimately, we think you're on this kind of Elliott wave style journey. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Elliott wave theory, but ultimately, I think Bitcoin is, and you guys know the plan for Bitcoin, certainly if you watch me daily, lovely messy draw here. We're just basically saying, it's not a bad time to accumulate under here before we do see those higher targets getting met. But for Cardano specifically, Bitcoin's kind of already taken out its one wave, whereas Cardano is still yet to do so. And bearing in mind, we've been calling this for a while now. I thought Cardano was actually going to break through up here. It's taken a longer route to get there. You do have kind of a disproportionate head and shoulders. Ultimately, we're very much set on upside for Cardano. And I can see Cardano getting in this next move by the time it tops out and has any kind of serious correction to around about 53 cents. But ultimately, I do have higher targets. I think Cardano is going to run back into this region here. And then who knows what's on the horizon for it. But I do think we're looking at more upside. We've been buying Cardano down here, ultimately for that reason exactly. And we think the technicals for crypto generally are married with the kind of macro conditions, and ultimately we're set for more upside. So that's all I've got for you really in this video, guys. I just want to give a bit of a plug. You guys will know that I do have a Cardano stake pool that I haven't been paying as much attention to as I should have. Now, there was a bit of an issue with one of the stake pool operators. You guys will know I'm not very technical. My background's in dentistry. So I have employed somebody to help me on the technical side of things. Now, there was a bit of an issue. However, I have partnered up with a very, very well-known stake pool operator to help me run my pool and now make sure that we never miss a beat. So I guess this is a plea for anybody out there who has Cardano spare. You know, we've been buying it and ultimately using my pool to stake with. Then please consider staking with ALLIN, which is the name of the pool. And I will be doing some really interesting things with the pool. We've got lots and lots of ideas, like how we're going to incentivize people to stake with us. Also, we're going to be getting the Discord back up and running so that I can have contact with the delegators and we can come up with ideas, you know, the direction we want to take the pool into. It's going to be a very community-focused pool, and hopefully you guys will join me on that journey. So if you do have Cardano and you are considering delegating it, please do not rule out the ALLIN crypto stake pool. On that note, guys, I'm going to love and leave you. Hopefully you found this news as exciting as I certainly have. And if you have a like, it's always appreciated. So is a comment. Catch you in the next video, ladies and gentlemen. See you then.